All right, what's good, my people? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to It's Daniel Effects. I'm going to be doing a super quick little breakdown of what I think is going to be happening this next week. So we're going to be breaking down US30. We're going to be breaking down the NasDaq, German 30, as well as my overall dollar strength or weakness bias. And yeah, let's just have some fun with it. Let's see what's happening. I feel like it's going to be a beautiful week in the markets. And I watch it. I'm going to clip this at the end of next week when I come to make a fat withdrawal. I'll clip this and be like, yeah, I told you so in it. But cool, let's get into the video. So first and foremost, what I always like to do whenever I'm doing a weekly forecast or whenever I'm just preparing for the week ahead, always want to go ahead and start with the dollar because it's just always a good indicator of what's going to be happening that week. Do you have a weak dollar? Do you have a strong dollar? And dependent on whether the dollar is weak or strong, you have a risk on market or a risk off market. A risk on market refers to when the dollar is weak, meaning that the minor pairs, the exotics, the commodities, the indices, etc., are usually going to tend to have more volume in them in comparison to a risk off market. When the dollar is strong, you tend to have more fluid price movements. You tend to have a little bit less volume, a little bit less momentum, and you do actually tend to see that momentum and volatility in the USD pairs as opposed to across the market. But right here, you can see we're actually on the weekly time frame, and you can see the past couple of weeks have been in a steady kind of downtrend. We did have a few scenarios where price did try to wick to the upside and actually try to gain some traction, but we were very quickly rejected and back to the downside. And you can see literally last week we ended as a bit of a weaker bearish candle, a little bit of an indecision. But you see we're actually coming down to test these weekly lows. So you're coming down to test the structure here to the left. Now I'm personally anticipating we come and break that structure and continue to fall further on the dollar. Now if my daily chart wants to load up here right quick, we'll give it a minute. Solid one trading view. So while this loads up, I just want to quickly point out two things. Number one, I am upgrading my equipment. There's a better camera on the way. So I'm going to be doing some vlogs, doing some actual like proper good content. I've also ordered a better computer. Don't know if you guys have seen that video, but I lost a couple thousand the other day because this was slow exactly like this and it took a minute to load up. But yeah, I am getting some better equipment, and we will be bringing up the overall quality of the content on the channel. I promise you guys. So stick around in it, subscribe, all of that YouTube stuff. But slowly, the videos are going to get better. Quality is going to get better. I'm going to find the rhythm, but you just need to bear with me for a little bit while I figure out what I'm doing. Because again, I'm still new to this, innit? But yeah, again, right here on the daily time frame, you can see past couple of days leading towards like what Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we were a little bit wicky, we were a little bit back and forth. But you can see towards the end of the week, Thursday, Friday, price kind of gained a little bit of traction, a little bit of certainty, and it looks like we're now about to kind of break out this like this sort of consolidative period and actually come down and take out these structural lows in it. I would say there's a very big psychological level coming up, which is just 100 flat is like a huge psychological level that price is going to have to break. But to be honest, I am genuinely anticipating that this next week we're going to come down and maybe tap into like the 90s. Again, depends how much volume we have, but to my knowledge, there's not too much high impact news, and it does seem very, very possible. Now, this actually puts me very nicely for my NasDaq and US30 bias. If you don't know this, NasDaq and US30 run based off of the dollar, not the actual dollar's price, but has a very strong correlation. For example, when the dollar is super strong, usually NasDaq and US30 and German 30 are super weak. Well, not really German 30, but the two other US indices work vice versa. Same thing, if the dollar is very weak, which it is in this case, we should have a very strong NasDaq and US30. And last week, what do we have? We had a beautiful move. I actually can't get over how nice this move was. If it wants to let me zoom back out to the daily, that taking about 6 years to load up. But I don't know when this got like incredibly slow. Like I feel like it was that one time it lagged out my MetaTrader. That one time it lagged out my MetaTrader, and then it just stopped working. After that, it just started slowing the fuck down. You know, we're not even going to that time frame. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Again, my new Mac Mini is coming in like 3 days when Apple finally release it, and then we'll be able to do live streams, and it will actually be it'll be beautiful in it. But anyways, so last week we came up to this daily key level, and it's actually a weekly key level, but obviously my Mac's just not letting me zoom out today. But we came out to this weekly key level, and you can see from like Monday the whole week we were kind of rejecting that level. We were failing to break above. We were wicking. We were doing up some nasty activities, and we actually started to retrace. And towards like Thursday, I was thinking, like fuck, we didn't get the week that I wanted to get. Because I can't lie, last Monday I really wanted price to break above the structural high, retest it, and give us a continuation high. That would have been a beautiful, beautiful like setup for the rest of the week. But we simply just didn't have that, and it's a prime example of price just didn't want to do what I wanted it to do. But as a result, I didn't try and force any buys. I didn't get caught lacking on the wick. I just understood that price wasn't giving me what I wanted it to give me. And I took a step back from the market and I stopped looking for that setup. And I started actually shorting it on the way down. And granted, there wasn't really many setups last week that I could find. I wasn't really trying to short, but as long as you just don't get fixated on your setups, you should be fine. But I say this now because price has actually later on done what I wanted it to do, which is on Friday, just before the market shot, we had a big bullish impulsive candle, which has come and actually broken structure. Now, we haven't broken this wick high, we haven't broken the market structure, but we've broken this like daily and weekly key level. Now, what I'm personally anticipating for NasDaq, same thing applies to US30 because we've pretty much got the same sort of like similar price movement. But I'm anticipating a consolidation from Asia, some sort of consolidated period like this during Asia, and then London to fake out to the downside. We might even break the structural low for a minute, fake out before we actually have a big bullish move for New York session. That is my personal anticipation. We could be wrong. We might open up bearish. We might open up and just start flying. There's a number of things that can happen, but in an ideal world, we would open up, consolidate for a little bit, have a London fake out to the downside before we get some New York momentum that comes up to take us higher. And granted, if all goes well, then I'm really hoping that the end of this week, we kind of end up around this sort of 12,100 kind of period in it. I don't know how you even say that number. It would be 12.1 thousand. But yeah, around this general sort of area is where I can see the next weekly candle ending up at. So it does put us in a very nice position to be buying on the indices, US30, NasDaq, etc. But it's all sort of the similar sort of price movement. Now, granted, US30 does look a little bit different rather, but it's the same sort of principle. You'd be anticipating a little consolidated period, maybe a little fake out to the downside before a continuation higher. And I believe German 30 is following suit as well. We're also looking for buys on German 30. Yeah, German 30 arguably is more bullish than the other pairs, but primarily what I'm really focused on is the NasDaq because it's just had a big structural break and it looks like it can potentially give you the most amount of pips. It will be the most profitable pair to trade next week, in my opinion, granted that we have this continuation higher. But again, I'm going to be doing a full breakdown on the Learn and Earn, which is currently free at the moment. You can literally just join on Discord, hit the emoji react, it will give you the role. And yeah, we're going to be live streaming all week. I am then going to Morocco next week. So there's a bunch of things happening, but I promise you this next week is going to be beautiful. I can feel it. I'm liking the look of the markets already. If it just gives us that lovely break and retest, we're going to make some money. But yeah, I'm going to see all you guys in the session on Monday, market open. And yeah, in a bit. Thanks you for sticking around and watching the YouTube.